Guys being shot dead. I'm talking about the attack on that synagogue in Pittsburgh. The atmospherics. How much is this president responsible for those atmospherics?
The invitation to hate openly, unapologetically, to call Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals, to call asylum seekers animals, an infestation, to describe white nationalists, Klansmen, neo-Nazis as very fine people. That has certainly contributed to the environment that we see in this country at this moment. The challenge, though, is not to assess blame, but to try to lead by example. That's what I see here in Houston, the most diverse city in the United States of America. That's what I see. And understanding that our very strength is premised that we are from all over the world, and we've come together here in the greatest nation that the world has ever known. We're going to shine through right now at this moment of division, this moment of polarization, this moment of smallness and pettiness and meanness. We're going to come through with our courage, with our confidence, with our strength. I know that because I've traveled the state. I've been with everyone. That's what Texas wants to do right now. I'm very confident that on November 6th, you're going to see that in action.
We've seen leaders during times of great stress in this country and horror and tragedy. Bobby Kennedy, for example, after Dr. King was killed, that night he walked into Indianapolis and he talked to a black community and he appealed to them to understand common humanity and to try to get past this. Do you think if Trump acted like that, the country would be different? Can he act like that? Is he capable of it personally?
I don't think he's capable of it, but that doesn't have to limit who we are as a people. We are more than the President of the United States, the current occupant of the White House. I know that from traveling the state and finding Republicans who may have voted for Trump who don't approve of this kind of behavior, this kind of rhetoric that we're seeing nationally. I see people who want to be defined not by our fears, not who we're supposed to be scared of, but by our ambitions, our aspirations, the great things that we still want to do. This idea of walls, or banning all people based on their religion, or the press as the enemy of the people, or tearing kids away from their parents at their most vulnerable or desperate moment. That's not us. That's not the United States of America. But in a democracy where the people are the government and the government is the people, it's on every single one of us to make that change. This election on the 6th of November is our chance to do that. And if the early voter turnout is any indication, the people of Texas are standing up to be counted and to make this change right now.
I just talked on the phone an hour ago to Congressman Joe Kennedy of Massachusetts, the grandson of Robert Kennedy, and he said that what separates you from other politicians he knows is that you basically don't worry about polls. You don't ask about opinion surveys. You don't check out how people are, where their heads are going. He said you have a faith in the goodness of the American people. Explain. To do the right thing.
Yeah. Our only poll is visiting the 254 counties of Texas, having town halls all over the place, never discriminating based on party affiliation or who you last voted for president, finding out how you want to come together and decide the future of this country. It's been the most inspiring, the most hopeful, the most thrilling, the most optimistic journey of my life, to be with the people of Texas all over the state of Texas. When you add to that having the courage of your convictions, never taking a poll to find out where you fall on an issue, not needing a weatherman to know which way the wind blows, you can say who you are, and the people know that. And if we owe those who will decide this election anything, it is our candor, it is our beliefs, it is listening to them and reflecting their stories out on the campaign trail and the service that we want to provide in the Senate.
You know, over the weekend, the president had an opportunity to do something like that. We had the horror at that synagogue, 11 people killed. A religious killing, really, was what it was. It was like out of the Middle Ages kind of thing, or the worst part of the 20th century. The president went right out on the stump, right on stirring things up again, blaming everything on a congresswoman from California or Nancy Pelosi. Getting why do you think he thinks that's a winner? Because he must think that's going to do something for him. Start it up.
I don't know why he thinks that. It's up to us, the people, to decide if it is a winning strategy. To blame the press, to blame migrants and refugees, to blame others.
It got him elected.
Yeah, it may have contributed to his election. But it's up to us to decide who we are. There's this great line from Harry Truman. that the American people are founded not on fear, but on courage, on imagination, and unstoppable determination to do the job at hand. I think that still describes us. I believe our best days are yet ahead, that we don't have to return to some former greatness. We don't have to literally, physically, through 2,000 miles of walls, separate ourselves from the rest of the world. We don't have to renege on our agreements, on our values, on the alliances that we have fought for and established and secured over the last 80 years. All of that is happening during this administration. That can either define us for the generations to come, or what we choose to do now at this defining midterm election. That might be how we are known for the people of the future, the kids, the grandkids, those kids and grandkids of generations yet unborn who will read about us, the people of 2018, and they'll say, in the face of all this smallness and all this fear and all this paranoia, these people stood up. They were counted. They did the right thing at the moment that history was calling for them. I love that I get to be a part of this, and that so many young people, especially at this defining moment of truth, are getting up there leading right now on any issue that you could care about, whether it's access to health care, affordability of higher education, meeting the existential challenge of climate change, or ensuring that every dreamer, more than 1 million strong in this country, no longer has to fear deportation because they're made U.S. citizens here in this country, continuing to make it the greatest place on the planet. That's what I hear from the people of Texas, especially the young people of Texas.
You mentioned Harry Truman, who was the first president to integrate U.S. military services. He really did have the guts to do the right thing. He brought all the units together, all the groups together, races. This president is talking about getting rid of the 14th Amendment effectively. He wants to get rid of birthright citizenship. So if you're born in this country under his hope decree, you won't be an American. What do you make of that? That's today. He's talking about that.
Interesting that he drops this proposal with a week to go until the November 6th election.
Who's he playing to?
Interesting that he tries to stoke paranoia and fear about a group of migrants who are still hundreds of miles, weeks away from the U.S.-Mexico border, if they even make it this far. I think he's trying to play upon the worst impulses of this country, instead of speaking to our ambitions, our hopes, our dreams, those things that we can achieve if we all come together.
Right.
So I don't know what he's trying to do. I just know the task left to us, which is to be the answer to that. Our courage, our confidence, our strength, that has to define us going forward. And it's up to us. And I love that we have the chance to do it. And I love all of the excitement, the enthusiasm, the energy that we're seeing out on the trail right now. It bodes very well for our answer to this moment.
And on the record, for the record, you oppose amending the United States Constitution, removing the 14th Amendment and the birthright citizenship.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take a question. A lot of student questions tonight.